Somehow during this morning, this topic arose for me and kind of came with a title. It's called Delusional Spirituality. And it has to do with something approaching this idea of escape velocity. That somehow, through this practice of identifying with a spiritual dimension, you will achieve this enormous uplift and explosion away from yourself and your suffering and your fear and anxiety. And somehow you will be blasted into infinite joy and wisdom. I'm not here to tell you that that isn't possible. But my instinct says that it is delusional. And I say that because my own practice and experience have not been to getting away from and above and beyond, but going deeper and more profoundly within. It's not a loss of anything, it's an arrival at an unnameable knowing that has no clarity, no knowledge, no certainty, no specificity, no delivery in a way, but it has a kind of course. And there is feeling accompanying that. And the feeling for me that accompanies that is most specifically addressed by the word love, which I use regularly. Love that is almost beyond understanding and even beyond touch and experience. It just is. And it's so profoundly foundational and so between manifestation and unmanifestation that it has this secret, and I hate that word, but this quiet inner space that you only go to by what Woody called surrender and acceptance. It doesn't liberate you, it gives you yourself. It exposes you to your totality. As long as you are in a body, as long as you are in a world, as long as you have a sense of time and space and the universe being in your mind what it is, you will be confined by that in many ways. And we're all confined differently. Each one of us has a completely unique take on what this mystery is. And we can try to get to each other through our exploration of that mystery. We can talk about it in our own terms. We can extrapolate from the way people talk, what they're really going through. There does appear to be a universal alignment, attunement that allows us to know others. Again, the word may be love, empathy, compassion, but there's something that as a screenwriter, I had to learn about, because if your stories are so specific about the other and they don't talk about the universal, people are lost in them. They watch them for distraction. And yeah, okay, that's interesting. But they don't come back with anything. They don't come back with insight, with a new awareness, with something bigger and more important. And I hate movies like that. I hate stories like that. And I watch so many lives like that. Lives that don't get it, that don't add up, that are just in endless disarray and disillusion and delusion about the what is. Somehow, if you do this and you do that, you'll get there. Well, I guess for me, and you've heard me talk about this, The there you're trying to get to is nowhere but right here. Where else are you going to get? I mean, the next moment you get to will be right here. And this is nothing new in spiritual talk or guidance. It's nothing unique. But a lot of people believe the next moment you get to will be completely other. Well, maybe when you die, probably it will be pretty other. Maybe if a turkey slams into your car windshield, for a moment it will be profoundly other. But it comes right back into this is what it is. This is it. If you get quiet enough, if you get still pointed enough, if you can just sit and be for a moment long enough to witness the what is, something happens inside that is physiological in a way, it is emotional, it is a kind of, that's it. You're here. You are really, absolutely, biologically, physically, metaphysically, spiritually here. There is a miracle in that. There's magic in that. There's wonder in that. But if you think you can train to get to that, don't imagine it's going to be an escape velocity into something other. What you will get out of all of your effort and all of your training is being here. You'll go, ah. And you will not only go, ah, you will go, oh. And that's it. That's really the journey to nowhere. The journey to nowhere away from here. The journey is to right here. And very few people are right here because they're always plotting the escape velocity. They're always plotting the next moment, the road to happiness. I got to have that ice cream. I got to go meet that girl. I got to go do this thing. Whatever it is, it's always the next thing that's going to bring it. And of course, the next thing always brings the same complexity, the same stress, anxiety, wonder, hope, all the other stuff that it's always brought. It's never different. You keep getting the same information load. And if you keep getting the same information load and operating on that, you will discover it doesn't help. You don't have any real guidance system. The guidance system isn't outside you. You know, and I've been going through this period, and I talk about it more than any of you want to hear about it, but the experience of pain not being moderated by anything outside. Nobody, there are no doctors, there are no advocates, there's nobody out there right now who can say, do this, do that, and I'll take care of it for you. Gone. I've never been there before. That's really interesting. I will also tell you, as I tried last year and I'm now experiencing again, this pain, which is so unpleasant and awful on so many levels, opens you up. I don't know why. Why does it give you such insight? Why does it give you such clarity? Why does it give you such an amazing, profound joy in being? And it's horrible. It's horrible. And not having anyone guide you, not seeing any past tense experience lead you to the next step. It's a really strange experience because we all think that there's a logical flow to events. This happens, that happens, and that happens. No. This happens, that happens, period. And all you can do is show up to the what happens. And you can show up with either hope and prayer that you will get out of here, or a way of sitting in it and going, aha, or so, or thank you, or whatever. And it keeps changing. Again, to bring it back to the personal, and you know, any one of you who's tired of my personal stuff can turn this off in a second. But you know, Blanche is going to Washington, D.C. to help my son Ari move to his new place in Orlando. I was supposed to go, but I got an opportunity to visit a doctor in New York who could be possibly helpful in my struggle. But I also saw the universe saying, Blanche is supposed to go by herself. She's supposed to go be with Ari. You are not. You are supposed to be home alone. And I know those of you out there right now who now are absent of partners recently, and I have an unbelievable empathy for you. And this has just been a day of not having my wife here. And I'm going, oh, oh, oh. Projecting that into the future is kind of terrifying. And yet I have to say, one of us, Blanche or I, are going to experience that probably, an emptiness that is not fillable. But I'm already being directed and instructed in how to accept aloneness, how to accept my own private, simple being without any idea of what comes next. No idea, and no structure for figuring it out. We've moved to a town where, yes, we know some people, but the pandemic obliterated most of the social fabric. So I'm not reaching out very well, although I'm starting to understand how to do it. And again, beginning that journey. I invited myself to my son's house yesterday to go swimming. I had a great dinner. It was amazing. Had the most wonderful time. I said goodbye to my granddaughter going off to camp, and the day filled up, even though Blanche wasn't here. When I'm off this Zoom call with all of you, I am completely alone again. But then George and Cheryl, in their infinite wisdom, decided to bring me pastrami and corn rye bread from Connecticut, one of my great pleasures. That came out of nowhere. Nowhere. They just came to the table. And I tell you that with one other element, which is that my friend Larry, one of my oldest friends in the world from high school on, came to visit for the last few days. He hates my spiritual life. Nothing about my spiritual life intrigues him. If I talked like this to him, he would go crazy. He'd just forget it. His visit was one of the most spiritual journeys imaginable. We had such a great time. Not one word of this, just being together. And what I'm trying to say is life is the spiritual journey, and it brings you what you need. And what you need to do is trust it. Trust the journey. Let this thing unfold. And you need to do it because it provides the answers and it provides the content and it provides the comfort that you are looking for. It's not escape velocity, it's here. Sit down, be quiet, be with your life, and watch what happens. If nothing happens, you'll figure it out. You know, I have my photographs that I play with. Last night I didn't watch TV. Couldn't watch another Olympic event for the life of me. And I just went to the photographs and I just started making art. No one's going to look at my art, really. You know, it's on Instagram, but who cares? It's like I look at it. I watch it emerge and I go, that's really beautiful. Fulfillment. Fulfillment. Done. There. And I look at all this stuff and I go, this is what life is. Life is this arriving moment to moment of something that provides and fulfills. And if it doesn't, that's the beginning of whatever it is you're supposed to look for next in your life. Rudy was a great teacher about that. He was a great teacher about finding whatever fulfillment you could in the real world by going out, entering the world, taking charge, being responsible, finding your path. And if that's what's required, if sitting and being isn't enough, you have to activate. You have to be proactive. You have to reach out. And I've talked about that a lot. Reaching out is a gift. Reach out to other, and it all comes back. It all comes together. Reaching out is a practice. So here I am, you know, almost 78 and learning skills. If you live with somebody for 54 years, you forget your potential to just be alone and to do your own thing. And it's hard to come back at, but it's there. And the great directive of it is sit still, be quiet, feel your heart open, feel where it wants to reach, and be available to receive, because others will reach out to you. It's an amazing experience of exchange that this world represents. And the real joy of all of this is that there is a constant at the core. And that constant really, really is love. Really is love. I wrote one really good line in all my movie career. And that line was at the end of Ghost. And I was on the way to the drugstore to pick up medicine for my son Ari. And I was with Jerry Zucker, the director, and he kept saying, we need a Casablanca line. We need a Casablanca line. And we never could come out with what that would be that people would take away from the movie. And we're driving in Northridge, California, on the road, and we were entering the parking lot. And I went, you don't take it with you. You can't take it with you. And then I went, oh, wait a minute. You do take it with you. The love inside, you take it with you. And Jerry went, yes, that's it. That's our line. We have it. That's our line. And for whatever reason, YouTube sends me people all the time saying that line or referencing that line on YouTube. And I go, it penetrated. And not only did it penetrate, but it continues to be an expression of, for me, what may be ultimate truth. The love inside, you take it with you. If I'm wrong, total apologies to all of you. If I'm right, that moment of revelation will be remarkable. But the really important part of all this is the love inside, you take it with you every minute of your life. It is never not there. And if it's not there, it's because you're not there. And if you're not there and you're not feeling that love for other or for self, you have to go and find it. You have to take that breath and go inside into your heart or all the other chakras, ask for help, and watch this thing reveal itself yet again. The love inside. It's there. It's absolutely there. I had a strange experience last week. Arkady has started recording the teaching, the quiet eye-open classroom, which we never did before. So I have a few of these classes suddenly stored away. And one of them came up and I decided to start looking at it. It's me, Bruce, teaching you. And I'm looking at the class, the silent eye-open meditation. And the next thing I know, I'm having kriyas and almost falling off my chair. Looking at myself. And I don't even recognize it as Bruce. It's just this energy coming. And it could have been Rudy, it could have been any of you. This energy transmitted is energy transmitted. And it was so powerful. And I'm going, wow, Blanche is right. I should listen to some of my own talks. And I should clearly watch some of my own classes. Because we're all beneficiaries. We're all beneficiaries of this remarkable, nameless energy that makes no sense, that is endlessly available and present. And if you want it, it's there. If you are delusional, as are many people, you're going to wait for it to be there in the next moment after you achieve escape velocity. Then you'll get it. When you die, you'll get it. Why? It's right here. It doesn't go anywhere. You are the matrix, the very essence of that which is between you and other is all basically built on this extraordinary expression of love that comes out of absolute nothingness. The mystery of being is how and why, and I have no answer for that. But I know when I sit in absolute nothingness and I feel the despair and I feel the confusion and I don't know what's going on, I look at the world around me and it looks like it's insane. I look at the world inside, I can't find anything, and I just sit there and I ask for help. Suddenly, boom, there it is. And when it comes, it's massive. And when it's massive, it's extraordinary. And when I come to teach this class once a week, it absolutely pushes me out of the way. Couldn't care less about Bruce on any level. It just says, this is about you. It's completely about you. And it loves you. And I pray that you guys can feel some of that love that's being processed through time and space, through digital technology, into your being. I'm not going to explain it to you. I don't have a clue. I have no idea. Mystery for me is mystery, and mystery is also wonder. And I feel the wonder, but that love that goes to you overwhelms the system. It overwhelms the system, and it just says, the love inside, you take it with you. That's the answer. So, you know, you can all stay on the journey of trying to get there and trying to reach for the thing that's going to come, and it will be there maybe at the end of your life or somewhere down the road, or maybe there's secret teachings that will give it to you that nobody else can have. But I don't believe that. I think that's delusional. What's real is it's right there, it's right now. Ask for help, let it come, let the door open, step inside, be blessed by yourself, and be one with this enormity of love and beauty that is at the core of this world, even though this world could be going to hell. And sorry, I don't want to carry this any further, but one thing YouTube showed me this morning, uh, you're probably asking why I go to YouTube. I can't answer it. But one of the things it showed me was a guru talking about apocalypse and talking about the end of the Kali Yuga and the beginning of the new age. And it's all going to come and we're all going to witness it. And we can all stay in this protected space of joy and bliss and watch everyone we know and everything we love destroyed. Sorry, that is not my understanding of things. We are not going to like watching things destroyed, and we may be watching it even as we speak. I think we really hold hands as best we can, hug each other as best we can, be prepared to be together. I have a lot of people say I have way too many chairs in my house. You're all welcome to sit in these chairs. When the time comes, we may just all want to sit together and just share the love. But all I know is it's a communal and individual journey that we're on, and that the journey is connected by caring about each other, reaching out to one another, and being available. That's the goal. That's the essence. If you want to know what spirituality is, it's kindness. Offer it out. Okay, I think I've kind of got all the points in that wanted to get said. Thank you guys for being here. I'm totally open to questions. I don't know if I have any answers, but I'm open to questions if anybody has them. So what I want to say is life provides us with opportunity for enormous sadness, regret, despair, etc., etc., etc. Some more and some less. A lot of times based on our own ignorance, our own choices, our own lack of knowledge. And it's mostly a learning opportunity in a way. You need to let go of very big forces in your life. That's really essential. And, there's going to have to possibly be another switch that will take place at this point. But you and I can talk about that later. But I will tell you, I really empathize with your with the difficulty. It's not as horrific as you think. It never really is. There are great lessons to be learned from all of this, and you will come out a much stronger and a much more centered person. So don't despair. We'll talk. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes. Kenna.
Bruce, you talk about kind of getting still enough and something changes enough and presence coming. And you also mentioned that you sat for 44 years every day meditating, the double breath meditation. Before you stopped and you had your awakening, during those 44 years, did you have that kind of still pointedness also during your practice?
Yeah, but I was waiting for escape velocity. I kept waiting for it to take off into something else. I didn't know I was there. I didn't know that sitting, which was always wonderful every day, it was just wonderful. But I kept waiting, well, when does it go beyond? When does it go into the next thing? I had no idea. And it was the waiting for it to happen and the idea that I somehow had more to do, that is the delusion. It was there. And the awakening for me, in a certain sense, was, oh, I was trying to get somewhere that I already was. And that the I was the problem, because it kept pushing it away, when in fact, what you really want is to let go of the I and the recognition that it's already present tense. You don't try to get into presence, you can't get out of presence very easily. I mean, there is something I call absence, but it's part of the presence spectrum, and it's really potent. And the journey of sitting every day builds a muscle, But when you start to realize that you're trying to build it for the wrong reason, you've got to readdress that and give up the idea of personal benefit, personal, that you're going to come away as somebody who's benefited from all this. And all I can tell you is benefit is not what this is about. It's the opposite of benefit. It's really the opposite. It's the idea of, if you will, benefiting others. Because benefit for you is the absolute antithesis of spiritual awakening. Because there's a you and an it which don't exist. They are not separate entities. They are singular. And that singular quality, which is not comprehensible to the human mind, it just is. When that happens, you go, ah, and that's it. But this love that you find as foundational inside is there when you sit by yourself and when there's no you at all. It's still, the love is there. That's what's so bizarre. It's not personal, it's universal. And we all tap into it, and we all know we do, and we all hunger for it, but we all want to make it mine. I have it and you don't. You know, whatever the craziness of the mind, it's all about you saying basically thank you. That's it. And it took me 44 years to get there. But if I hadn't done those 44 years and listened to all the guidance through that time, nothing would have ever happened, because I would still be sitting there waiting for the secret to reveal itself. If I try harder, if I only meditated for 4 hours longer every day, maybe I would finally get there. You know, Buddha tried that. It didn't work. He said, forget that. Forget under the bo tree. What you do, he woke up to be a good person. Done. You know, and that all human beings suffer because they're trying to get themselves in a better place. It's be available to the other, even the other of self, and see what happens. It's quite astounding. Even when it evaporates, it's like being is extraordinary, and it may be eternal. If not, oh well. But as far as I can tell, it may actually go on forever. We'll see. But not your being, not your personal being. That's flash in the pan. And you're going to go through that, as we all are. And at the end, it's not going to be fun. And if you haven't had your practice at the end, it's devastating. Could be. Maybe for some people it's not. But if you do your work and you practice and you open, revelation upon revelation, but not with ultimate knowing and clarity, it's with like, it's just acceptance, deep acceptance. Okay?
But striving, thank you, by the way, that's, and I hear, or as much as I can. But the striving brings us here too, or my striving brings us,
yes,
here.
I'll tell you the way I understand it. Possibly it's all wrong, but the universe pays attention. If you want something bad enough, it delivers, but it checks out how badly you want it. If you keep aligning yourself with that want and you prove yourself, it gives. It just does. That's my experience. I've had a life of unbelievable presentation. Stuff has arrived because I really put myself out. And as I talk about a lot, I risked for it. I took steps and risks of giving up security to get something else. And the universe said, oh, this guy's serious. That's all. I mean, I don't know how that works. Rudy, calls it the guys upstairs. I think they pay attention and they deliver. 44 years of sitting was enough for them to go, he's serious. Here you are, present tense. Okay. Wendy.
Thanks, Bruce. So my question is, if you find yourself out of that space of being centered inward and in that area of love, and you're going to redirect yourself in like, okay, I'm out of that space. Do you go to place your attention in the third chakra, or is there a different like tuning in you do to bring yourself there?
A third chakra is pretty helpful. Heart chakra is where love and acceptance of others and self happens. I talked a few weeks ago about this mudra work, touching yourself, letting go. watching what happens when you let go slowly of the touch and you see it's magnified, it doesn't get less. This is like I'm touching myself and feeling secure. This is like, oh, I'm touching everything. And it's powerful. It's just a simple little tool, but I use it. I use it in the car. I just go, oh, and I just go, okay. And it's not like I have to sit down for a half hour to meditate. I just go, okay. Or I take a breath and I say, help me. And if nothing arrives at all, I go, Aso, what are you going to do? And that Aso, what are you going to do is actually very Zen and very meaningful, because you can't always do something. But if you are around this process long enough, you will begin to trust that the thing you need to arrive will, unexpectedly out of nowhere. For me, having pastrami and corn rye this evening for dinner is such an unexpected arrival. I thought I'd be home, making eggs or something. But this is kind of how the universe works. You don't know, but trust me, if George and Cheryl didn't bring me that, I would have made eggs and been happy. So it's you figure it out step by step. You figure it out. Blanche wasn't here. I took one of her shirts and I put it where she normally hangs it in the bathroom this morning. Stupid, emotional, whatever. But boy, did I feel happy to walk in and see her shirt hanging there. What can I say? So I have an emotional, childlike aspect, which I don't disparage. I just go, okay. And we all do. And you can pay attention to that stuff and find what works. How do you get through your day and get through it? And if you're lucky, you can go to bed without pain. I have not had that regularly. But when you go to bed with pain, there's a whole new level of work. And if you haven't done this work, that's going to be really hard. So it's good to begin this process of knowing how to go yes, even to the things you can't say yes to easily.
Thank you, Bruce. And I love that about you, everything you just said. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
Bruce, I have a question.
Yeah.
So let's say you get here and you're present, but then it still seems like you can do work in the present, almost as if you're like adjusting your mirrors or something. Like you're talking about the pain, like you can get present, but then there's still stuff to do in the present. Could you talk a little bit more about like present tense work?
Yeah, I can only tell you, you kind of know what to do. There's a kind of a guide. And I don't know what guidance is exactly, but I know I look for it. I'm especially looking for it now because I have moments where everything is suddenly done. There's nothing to do. And I just go, okay, what's this tiny little quiet voice that says, go for a walk, sit down, take a nap, read the newspaper, answer emails, whatever it is, you never know it, but it opens doors. And you just try to find the guidance. And if nothing comes, then it's kind of because the universe doesn't care what you do now. And if you can accept, it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want to do. Go drive into town and, have an ice cream soda or something. You just feel your way through the next the next moment. We're all trying to get very specifically directed. When it's important, you will be. When it's not important, you go, okay, and you find your way. I am not really comfortable with not knowing. I've never been uncomfortable. I've never been comfortable with that. I've always been a writer and doing and making and doing, producing. Now they're showing me you don't have to do that. It's okay to have nothing and do nothing and watch what happens. Something happens. That's all I can tell you. It will arrive. And if it doesn't arrive, read a book. I don't know. Just don't trouble your mind about it. The mind getting troubled is not an answer ever. The great thing about third eye opening is it gives you a deeper penetration into the noisy monkey mind. And you can see through the noise into, keep it quiet. You'll hear your own voice. It'll say, shut up, be quiet, stop worrying. It's going to be okay. The world's all right. You're fine. And you'll just be guided that way. And that's what open mind does. Open heart says, you're worth being loved. You are worth being loved. Feel it. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. And I'll tell this to everybody here. If you're not feeling that, call me and I will love you. I will really love you. I do. I really love you guys. And if you just need someone to throw that out at you, it's a phone call away. or an email or whatever it is you need. But this is the place you want. You want to be able to go third eye. You want to be able to let go of the ego drive that's tormenting you. You want to open your heart to the possibility of even liking yourself. You want to open your navel chakra to the intuitive that knows what to do, even in spite of the mind and the heart. And you want to get to this place in your sex chakra, which will allow you to become renewed every day and become a different person in a way. And then you want to get all that energy moving up your spine, out of your head, or circling and aligning all of it together so you become whole. And then you have a whole life. You're a whole person in a whole life. That's pretty astounding. You do not meet many people who've done that. You don't. I haven't. But you guys are among the group that are really, really in that camp. So I appreciate that. I'm lucky I get to know you. Does that help?
Yeah, and even what you were describing at the end, it seems like you can be present and then you can be more fully present by having these different aspects also going.
I would go more deeply. I like the word deeply. Full is good, but deep is an expansion. And deep also involves an uplift. I don't know why. So there can be a fuller element to it. But deep is very, very, it takes you from the limited into the full, into the vastness of things. And we're vast. We're really vast. We're not. We are the totality of, everything you're looking at. You are that. You are every tree you see. You are the bump in every road. You are the clouds in the sky. I mean, I don't want to get into a talk on that, but that's really what you are. And if you start to go, oh, I'm not just this person sitting here not knowing what to do this afternoon, changes the perspective a lot. And it's worth going for that. Open mind. See what's in front of you. That's why my photography is so exciting to me, because I see all these little blemishes on pieces of metal and I go, oh my God, that's beautiful. And then I take a picture of it and then I see what the colors are really there, because the computer lets you bring out colors that are hidden. And you go, oh, that is really amazing. And you go, life is beyond. And you keep getting that over and over. And here we are as beneficiaries of something inexplainable. Unexplainable. This is going on forever, guys.
Oh, could I just say, I used to take when I was in college, I used to smoke a lot of weed and I would take photographs of like cracks in the sidewalk and like dirt stains on car doors and stuff like that. It's kind of the same.
All I do, and I'm not on weed. But I do that. And I really, I love every moment of it. It's spectacular. Janice, did you have a question?
I did really quickly. Are you going to have an in-person next week?
Yes.
Great.
I'm going to write about it because I'm trying to figure out what to do about COVID. I'm really confused about.
That sort of brings me to, I was supposed to go to a Zen monastery this coming week, which they have a big Obon celebration. And then they said there's going to be 60 people there and everybody has to get a COVID test 48 hours beforehand. And everybody has to wear masks and it's getting more and more complex. It's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, am I going backwards, trying to revisit a place that's in my mind instead of being here now and seeing what's offered to me? That's,
I'm as confused as everybody else on the planet right now about what's the right thing to do. I'll bring it up. I think probably in the end, what I will do is tell people, if you are concerned, go on Zoom. We're going to continue Zoom. If you want to come here, I feel at this moment in time, it could change by next week. I feel open to allowing people into my home. I get great joy from it, but I don't want anybody to come to a meditation class fearing for their life. It doesn't feel right. So we'll play it by ear. But I will put out a notice next week. And if you do come or anybody comes, Blanche is only going to come back the day before from DC, so I will need additional help with kitchen stuff and preparing, putting food out. But I love the assembly here. This house was built for assembly, and if we can do it, we will. If we can't, God bless us all. We're all on a very, very complicated ride right now, and everybody knows it. Nobody has an answer. So being uncertain in an uncertain time, the closest we come to certainty is what we feel inside, and just trust that. And if it says stay home, wear a mask, don't go out, I would say follow that guidance. We'll see. I wish you all well. Thank you for being here. I really, really, I am benefited beyond belief, and I appreciate you all. Have a great week, and in 2 weeks we'll be back.